The wedding of the year is finally upon us. Today, 200 lucky guests will flock to Venice, Italy to celebrate the love of Amazon owner Jeff Bezos and former journalist, part-time astronaut Lauren Sanchez.
And while plans have been kept super under wraps, there are some little details that have leaked. First, the cost. Reports estimate the wedding will cost up to $20 million, which I guess for Bezos is like nothing, but
Right.
for the rest of us is like insane. And that includes a fleet of water taxis that they've booked for their guests.
We have heard is supposed to be at the Misericordia, which is a former charity turned events hall that was originally built in 1308.
Wow. Bezos' $500 million super yacht, the Karoo, which is actually where the couple got engaged, will reportedly be docked at San Basilio, which is Venice's ferry port. And I guess that is in sight of the Hotel Cipriani, which is where many guests are rumored to be lodged for up to 9,000 euros a night.
And apparently Karoo is the largest sailing yacht on Earth. Apparently when it was being built, it was like a project that was like super secret, kept under wraps for years until it was given to Bezos. It costs $30 million a year to maintain. Wren, what do you think of it? Do you think it's worth it?
No, it's so ugly. Like until this story, I'd never seen a picture of it. There's like 3 huge masts with like tons of ropes hanging down. Like, why would they want that? Aren't yachts supposed to look like sleek and like sexy?
No, it's like so ugly, but hopefully we'll see some like nicer yachts in the coming days because the guest list is supposed to be star-studded. It's not public, but AP reports that fellow space traveler Katy Perry will be there. Oprah Winfrey, Mick Jagger, and Ivanka Trump have all been invited. And then other rumored guests include Gayle King, Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Orlando Bloom, Bill Gates, Anna Wintour, Leonardo DiCaprio, Karlie Kloss, even the Queen of Jordan.
And because most of these celebrities will fly in on jets or like boat in on their yachts, plus Jeff Bezos' super yacht, this wedding is going to have insane carbon emissions.
And that's one of the many reasons that Venetians are pissed about this wedding. So it looks like local groups are planning protests for every single day of festivities. There was one protester that said this like among like a crowd of people: we will line the streets with our bodies, block the canals with lifesavers, dinghies, and our boats. And like everyone started clapping.
They also held the rally under a sign that said no space for Bezos with like one of his Blue Origin spaceships on it. So it's a pun. And organizers say since Bezos, who's the world's third richest person, is using their home as his wedding venue, he should at least donate towards the affordable housing shortage.
And this wedding also unfortunately coincides with like peak tourist season in Venice, where apparently tens of thousands of visitors enter the city daily. Well, remember last year when we found out that the city was going to start charging tourists to like enter the city on weekends and holidays because it seems like residents are just like so fed up with the congestion.
There's also a lot of concern about the logistics of this wedding, especially for the top tier guests that are going to have security detail, because will this further disrupt life for the residents? But City Hall does insist Venice is accustomed to hosting like large scale events, so life won't be disrupted.
And even stateside Americans have been like rolling their eyes at this upcoming Bezos event. Obviously, like intrinsically, we're all interested in like the celebrity and glamour of this like billionaire's wedding, but he has been wrapped up in a lot of like political controversies this past year, starting with how he switched political sides during the presidential election. In 2016, he thought Trump was eroding democracy, but things are obviously different now.
Oh, definitely. He pulled his paper, the Washington Post endorsement of Harris. He donated $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund, and remember, sat front row in what's now being called as Billionaires Row. And this is weird. Amazon reportedly paid $40 million for a documentary featuring Melania Trump, and most of that goes directly to the Trump family.
That's so weird. I had no idea. So today we're talking to content creator Meredith Lynch, who has hundreds of thousands of followers across platforms, and she's gone viral for her in-depth sleuthing on Jeff Bezos. So we're asking her about why she's calling out Bezos' philanthropic work, the recent Blue Origin cringe fest, and what she's expecting to see at the wedding.
Okay, so Meredith, first we want to go through some of the issues. You are so good at calling Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos out for their hypocritical receiving awards and like their philanthropic praise for things that Trump is directly undermining. So they recently attended the AmFAR AIDS Gala, and you broke down one of your videos why this is so hypocritical.
I mean, the Trump administration has been making direct cuts that impact people living with HIV/AIDS. I believe the big, beautiful bill which, has big cuts to Medicaid, also could see huge impact on that. And what's really interesting is that AmFAR themselves have come out and said what Trump is doing is really bad. When you hear that, you kind of say, okay, are we stealing from Peter to pay Paul when we go to these galas? I don't know.
We saw that you also broke down that Lauren Sanchez won an award last month in Cannes for her social, like, climate advocacy work, which we just thought was ironic because, like, even for their wedding at the most base level, they're like going to be on their $500 million yacht that emits like so much carbon emissions.
I mean, what I found so funny about that award was like they were staying on the yacht, and the yacht
Oh
is a
no.
well-documented climate justice nightmare. Okay. So to leave the yacht and then go to get this humanitarian award for your climate advocacy work, I know people say it all the time, but I think make it make sense. And I think, what's concerning to me is that more people aren't realizing the disconnect here. No one's calling it out. Everyone's just uplifting it for the most part.
Do you think they just want to stay in their good graces so badly for the potential donations down the line? Or it's
Such
like
a good question.
publicity for them too?
Well, here's a little Meredith Lynch lore. Before Meredith Lynch was an unhinged content creator, I was in nonprofit fundraising. It's a delicate balance because you need to give these accolades to people who, A, have potential to get you press, have potential to, if we honor you, will you give us a really large donation? And if we honor you, will you open up your contacts list? And so it's like you are not just tapping into that celebrity, you're also tapping into their network and their prestige.
Lauren's Bachelorette, we obviously have to get into that because it was such a spectacle. It was in Paris last month, and there was obviously a lot of like high profile guests. Kim Kardashian was there, Katy Perry. You sleuthed out that some of the guests run charities of their own and are very like outspoken critics of Trump, yet are good friends with Bezos and Sanchez. So can you tell us about what you discovered?
I guess they've bottled delusion. I mean, when I see Eva Longoria there, when I see Elsa Marie Collins there, she has an advocacy platform about refugees and immigration and the border crisis. When she was at the bachelorette party, she's literally posting Instagram stories that are like, "Crisis at the border," and you're like, "Yeah, guess what? Your friend sitting next to you has the cell phone number of the person who could stop the crisis at the border." I don't expect any more from Kim Kardashian or Kris Jenner. Like they have really shown us who they are.
Moving on to, I think, one of all of our collective favorite moments of pop culture in at least this year was the Blue Origin all-women empowerment space flight that completely broke the internet. And I think we were all surprised at how repulsed everyone was by it and how angered. Like, why do you think this flight just like triggered something?
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this first. I think there's a lot of internalized misogyny happening there. Like, I want to give those ladies that because we have sent so many men to space multiple times on this sort of what we would call tourism space, for lack of a better term, right? At the same time, I think that, they were framing it as sort of this empowering mission. It's a little 2016 girl boss, right? Like it was a little
Totally.
like,
Yeah.
when we are in the state that we are in this country right now, this feels a bit out of touch. But when you say yes to a trip like this, you are saying yes to Jeff Bezos's money, and that comes with criticism. I also think it's like hilarious that Gail went and not Oprah because they invited Oprah first, and Oprah was like, "Oh no!" Like I feel like Gail is always like the one who's like forced to do the crappy thing.
We're sorry to bring this up if this is like a sore topic, but didn't you get blocked by Lauren Sanchez?
Oh yeah, Lauren blocked me. Lauren blocked me during, I mean, honestly, great career move, Lauren, because you and I are going to have a lot of fun over the next week. But she did block me on Instagram. But Lauren, I just want to let you know, like, this is like a rookie mistake in blocking. You didn't block all accounts.
Well, hopefully she doesn't see this and then she'll know the secret. And then
I'll have you know, I think she's the #1 fan of Newsgirls.
she has to
She
be.
needs it. She's the one who needs it. A lot of the criticism that is levied at these billionaires is because they're so detached from normal everyday life. One of the ways that it is impacting everyday Americans' lives is the conditions at Amazon warehouses and their facilities. What outrages you the most about them?
I think it was right around the Blue Origin flight. There was a heartbreaking story of a worker being killed on the job. And one of the ways that Amazon likes to sort of, you know, cover themselves up on this is that they hire a lot of third-party vendors, right? I think the other thing about it is just the amount of union busting that happens at Amazon. Jeff Bezos is very anti-union. And so to me, if you are a billionaire and you are opposed to labor unions, you're just telling us that you are opposed to people having more equity, having a more equitable world.
No, the story of like the workers that have to like pee in bottles because they don't have time to run to the bathroom. Like I remember seeing that on the news and I can never forget that.
We really want to get into the wedding. Are there any details that haven't come out that you've heard of maybe, or anything that's like really struck you about the upcoming festivities?
Well, I do think it's interesting that they chose Venice because I do think, first of all, Venice is in a climate disaster. I think they knew that they couldn't have this wedding in the United States because it would get too much pushback, right?
Right.
So I have heard that a lot of the activities for the wedding are happening outside of Venice and that a lot of things are going to be happening on their yacht. So what I think they're trying to say is like, oh, we're not having that big of an impact on the city. I've been hearing that it's a 200-person wedding. So, I mean, that's not a huge amount of people, but I will say these are all people who come with entourages. Like, I wonder how, like, the Kardashians probably travel with 20 people. I think that, the internet has responded really well to the fact that, like, if you are friends with Jeff Bezos right now, you are showing us that you're complicit with Trump.
We did see on the guest list, like a lot of left-leaning alleged celebrities, like were invited at least. Like, you think that if they're going, they're kind of making this political statement? Like, is that what it's turning into?
I think that right now, the political climate, it's really hard to go to something that public and not say that it's a political statement. I will just push back against the people who go, well, don't, you have friends who maybe have different beliefs or, there's a difference between like dealing with your Trump uncle at Thanksgiving and being friends with Jeff Bezos, who gave Trump $1 million and sat behind him at his inauguration. That's a big leap, my friends.
I think it is easy for people to see like these beautiful gowns and they're on a giant yacht, like, or like the optics of philanthropy and like, oh, but they're doing this. And you keep us smart. You keep us from falling for these things. What is your best advice to social media consumers to stay woke to this?
Remember that all of these people have huge PR teams. When you see a statement from these people, when you see what they're posting on Instagram, this has been discussed with someone, debated with someone. Everything is strategic, intentional. It's a move, whether it's having the wedding in Venice, whether it's having the wedding on the boat, everything is like a chess move.